Right, you don't have. That's right. You're not elected. You're elected. You're in session 90 days at a time, but you're not elected for 90 days. So you could see where people would say, well, you have to carry yourself as such year round. I understand where you're coming from. Now, of course, in this business, we know perception is reality. It's the same in politics. And so, people hearing that might say, well, one way or the other. They might say, well, the timing might have been a little off since, you voted for AGEA, then against the license for TransCanada, and then bought 3,000 more shares of BP subsequent. So that's a perception. Reality is, like you say, is a lot different. That's not going to guide you on how you vote, your holdings as an individual, but people would say, well, the difference between you and I is that you're a lawmaker, I'm not. So you have the power by your vote or by bringing forth legislation to benefit certain corporations, individuals.
That's why I asked, do you see why
difference.
Do you see why people would raise their eyebrows? Not that you agree that they should, but you can understand why people would look at that and go, huh,
interesting.
No wonder he doesn't, did you buy 5,000 shares of TransCanada yesterday?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, in order to fix it, now you can benefit. It seems to me that now, you kind of get yourself in a lose-lose situation. I'm talking about perception. I'm not talking about the realities that you live in.
I'm with you on perception.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I have been put in a hole by a bunch of dirty, sleazy, out-of-state, shadowy, mysterious people. Nobody knows who they are. We just know that they're not Alaskans. We know it's some professional website.
Well, we know who Rebecca Mansour is. I mean, she's been on this program.
Who is she? Where is she
lives
from?
in L.A.
She lives in Los Angeles, and apparently she likes Sarah Palin an awful lot.
Yeah, have you seen that website? That is the most professional website. We manage a website for the hotel,
mm-hmm.
and you guys probably manage a website there at the radio station. Find out how much it costs to have a whatever they're called, web people.
Mm-hmm.
This is expensive. They took my whole APOC report and put it online yesterday. I mean, you can learn the most intimate details about my finances and I mean that document is a full disclosure document. That's the whole point. It's been online since March.
Right.
I stand up and say I have a conflict of interest on this issue. I have a conflict of interest.
When did you stand up and say that?
At what times have you said you had
before we vote? I mean, that's the time. That's the time to do it. So
no, but he's asking, at what have you done that before, where there was an issue before the body, and you said,
yes,
I can't. Okay.
Oh, all of our members do it. It's standard fare.
So how do you go about, like, you stood up and said, hey, by the way, I got 5,000 shares in BP.
No, that was after. So he didn't have to say that because he didn't own them at the time.
Look, my friend Lindsay Holmes has a ton of Exxon stock.
Yeah.
But look, guys. I mean, it's easy to dislike. It's easy to dislike political figures. But
listen, we don't dislike. Jay, I've said several times on the program, I like you a lot. I think you're a great guy.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about the general public.
Right,
yeah,
sure.
Okay.
But the fact is that the legislature is it's just a reflection of the ordinary public. I mean, these are basically decent people. Some are brilliant, some are smart, some are less sophisticated. Some have come from the private sector. Some have come from emergency services. I mean, some are retired teachers. Some are staffers. Some, it's a cross section. It's a cross section. But I find that these are honest, decent people, and we all have different backgrounds and different orientations. Mine happens to be a business orientation. I like BP. I mean, we all own BP. The Permanent Fund owns Exxon, BP, Chevron, Conoco. It's an amazing company.
Well, yeah, but I don't have 5,000 shares in it. So, Jay, I agree that in the beginning, yes, I think that the elected officials are a representation of Alaska. But I think the longer you stay in it, I think you distance yourself. And I think there is a disconnect between elected officials and us. And it changes you. And I think you have to change a little bit in order to succeed. In a small way, yeah, Mark and I are running for office every day by trying to do the best we can to keep our job, but it's different in the aspect of we don't have to campaign, we don't have to make promises, we don't have to scratch anybody else's back to get what we want. It's a different...
We don't have to have financial disclosure.
Correct.
I mean, you were right, because you have to put your intimate details of your finances out for the public's purveyance.
I would tell you this, Jay. Hey, having that financial disclosure out for the public is not going to hurt your chances to find a chick. I don't even swing in that.
The phone hasn't been ringing.
I don't even swing in that direction, and I'd go out with you. Good Lord, you're doing well.
Well, yeah, it was. And so I guess I was comfortable because I looked at that standard and said, this is a public document. This is satisfactory. Mm-hmm.
And you stood on the floor and said, I have a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's what we do generally.
No, you did it.
Not on that issue, though. He's talking about other things that come up.
When an issue comes up and you have a conflict of interest, a perceived conflict of interest, you stand up and say, I have a conflict of interest on this subject, and then somebody objects, and then you vote.
All right, now,
if anybody objects, you have to vote.
Okay, so did you ever stand on the floor and say, I have a conflict of interest on this Aegea situation because I own stock of BP?
Yes, but we haven't haven't had a vote on it since I owned the stock.
Okay, so when you introduced your anti-Aegea bill, you didn't own stock in BP.
Yes, but